This home that we're about to walk through has a front courtyard, a separate casita, and has a view off the backyard that looks out to this. Stick around for a great walkthrough. Hey everyone, Raj Sahu here. I'm a realtor in Central Texas, but you shouldn't always use me as a realtor. More on that a little bit later. Today we're walking through the Grayson plan with Scott Felder Homes. This home is over 3,800 square feet with the structural upgrades you'll see here in the home. This is gonna be the front courtyard that we'll come back to in a second. And this home has 5 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, and is currently for sale. Now it just fell out of contract recently, so they don't have a firm price yet, but I did speak with the builder on site, and I do believe it's going to be around $1.3 million. As soon as they make this home available, put it on the market, and have more of a firm price, I will update that in the comment section. What I want to start off with in this home is this main living area, and we'll cover the rest of the first story later on. You'll see a study, that front courtyard casita. We'll even head upstairs where you'll see a big game room, media room later on in the video. What I want to start off with is the kitchen. What I like about this kitchen is they did a vent hood all the way up to the ceiling with the backsplash following it. You have the refrigerator on this right side and an optional niche desk area that we'll get to a little bit later on as well. Now, above the kitchen island, you'll see this light bulb there. Usually they do that when they are about to hang pendant lights and maybe they're just missing a cap, or they have to show the city inspector that there is electricity running to that area. They just put a light bulb in there and then they eventually cap it. So I'd have to check. It looks like there are a few caps there for pendant lights, but I can certainly double check that with the builder just to be sure. What I know for sure looks great here is that kitchen backsplash where it goes all the way up to the ceiling. It really complements this countertop that has some great movement in it. And what complements everything here in the kitchen is going to be that view off the backyard, which you can catch just off your right shoulder. And we're gonna get there next. I just wanna show you the pantry while we're here in the kitchen. And then I'm gonna spend a good amount of time in this backyard because that's what I think Scott Felder does really well. They have plans that have great back patio options. They also do a good job in the primary bathroom, and we'll get to all of that here in this walkthrough. Now, as we walk through this home, I know it's empty, so some spaces will be difficult to visualize on what's possible in here. The good news is I have this same exact floor plan as a model home walkthrough posted in the description of this video. So if you have a difficult time visualizing like an area like this in the dining room, you can go to that model home and just click on dining room, and the chapters will take you right to this exact space where they had a 6-seater rounded table from what I remember, and it looked great. It's just that model home didn't have a view like this inventory home that is for sale. And this is what I meant about the backyard patio and how well they do it. They have a fireplace on the left side, which gives you a little bit of privacy from that neighbor that's off there on the left side. I think that was smart to do. And then you have this grill with a sink on the right side, and take a look at the view that you have from just your patio. And this is what really builds a dream for a lot of people moving to Texas, is they think about what they can do in their backyard. And for some people, they just want a little bit more space in their backyard, but for others who want space and a view, I'm thinking you could do an infinity pool back here that looks out to this amazing view. Another option you could possibly do is put a pergola back here. I know I have 2 clients under contract in this neighborhood on a very similar lot size than this one, and they're both building pergolas in their backyard just as a place to sit down, relax with family, take your morning cup of coffee out to. And I also think that that would be a great idea. Now, keep in mind, with every lot, there are different easements for each lot. You can't build within a certain distance of the property line. So these are things you definitely want to double check before making a big decision like building a pool or pergola or something that can't be moved easily. But these are things that you can definitely double check with your HOA in this community. And I've seen a lot of homeowners do these types of things in their backyard. Now, we are in a community called Santa Rita Ranch. It's located in Liberty Hill, Texas. And what I hear buyers say they love about this community is it's so lively, very active. And so if you like backyards with a grill like this in your back patio, a view like this off your backyard, but you still want to feel like you're close to civilization and in a neighborhood where you can go outside, you can still meet up with neighbors, then this is the community for you. This is exactly why Santa Rita Ranch was built out. The developer wanted an area where people could live comfortably in a home like this and have amenity centers that they could go to meet up with friends and neighbors within the community. They could go to events, which seem to always be happening in Santa Rita Ranch. Their newsletter that I somehow get emailed all the time always has events almost every single week to get people out of their house, meeting people, having fun. And then there are also on-site schools. So there's a Georgetown ISD section and a Liberty Hill ISD section, and both have either schools on site or schools being built on site. And that's something that I can cover in a later video. What I want to get back to is the plan here, where when you get back in the living room, I like you have the fireplace, you have the sliding glass doors on the right of you. So if you can imagine being on a couch there, sitting down, you have that view right off your shoulder. And then this was that niche desk area I was referencing before. I think they need to adjust this slider door, which is very typical at the end of construction, but usually you can swing that sliding door to the right if you want more access to that desk area, and then swing it back if you need to access that cabinetry. Moving on, we are in the primary bedroom, and as you'll see here, you get that same great view off the back wall. And then as we look up at the ceiling, we have 2 light bulbs there, and this is something, again, I can double check with the builder, but similar to the pendant light area in the kitchen, I think that would be the same thing here, where they would have 2 light fixtures hanging down along the nightstands. That's why they have a light switch there, so that if you just need a reading light at night, you don't want to get out of bed when you shut that off before you go to sleep. You usually have a light fixture there for that reason. An amazing view off this back wall with the patio to our right. And then good electrical upgrades that were chosen here. They have the elevated outlets, so you don't have to run wires down into anything or behind a wall aftermarket. It's all done for you. Moving on into the primary bathroom, we have 2 vanities with a freestanding tub in the middle, wide open walk-in shower with the frameless glass. We did have that very large window in between both vanities. Keep in mind, if you need to frost that, it's very easy to do that aftermarket to give you privacy in this bathroom. Some people prefer to do that aftermarket because they want to choose their own design element on frosting that window, and that's why builders sometimes can leave that open. In the walk-in shower, I love that they did some tile with some great movement and ran it all the way up to the ceiling, and then you have a transom window in here to bring in some good natural light. And this is what I mentioned before, Scott Felder's really good usually with their backyard patio options on their plans and then their primary bathrooms. And I think it's a good example of that with the upgrades that they chose in here, including this freestanding tub. And while we go through the rest of this bathroom, which has 2 different closets, and then we'll cover the rest of the first story before we head upstairs, what I want to cover next is going to be inventory homes versus building from scratch. An inventory home is simply a home the builder has already under construction. So they've obviously already selected the floor plan that they're going to build on a lot. They picked a lot of the structural upgrades that are in the home, and then they probably already have a plan of what design upgrades that they've selected. Sometimes you can change those design upgrades depending on the stage of construction that home is at and what design upgrades they've already kind of ordered the materials on. And that can vary from home to home, but the point is, it's take it or leave it in a lot of cases. Like this specific home is near completion, so there's probably not a whole lot they're going to change unless it's negotiated and they make some sort of exception. And by the way, this is going to be access to the utility room from the closet, which we'll come back around to, and I'll show you the study that's still on the first floor, the powder bath, some different things that we'll circle back to that are closer to the front of the home. But while we go over there, I do want to finish up by stating that inventory homes that are a little bit more of a take it or leave it proposition, and that tends to frustrate some buyers because they end up making more compromises for a home like this. But the obvious advantage is the home is going to finish sooner than building from scratch, but also the pricing tends to be a little bit better rather than building from scratch, because the closer these homes get to completion, the more of an incentive the builder has to price it aggressively to be able to get a buyer fast. So that's going to be the biggest difference. But keep in mind, as you're going through this home, if you like the idea of this floor plan, or you like the different ideas of this plan but want to see something else, then usually building from scratch is going to be a better option for you to get more of what you want. And that's still possible depending on what lots are still available. But right now in this community, there are lots with views that you can still build from scratch on. It's just a matter of figuring out the plan. Getting back into the home, we are in this study, which is located off the front of the home. I did like that off the window there, it's the front courtyard, so you get more privacy rather than just looking out to the main road. And then across from the study, we do have a powder bathroom that's on this side. And then we have a mud room or mud bench right next to it. And that mud bench is there because behind us, we have access to a 3-car garage. I'll just give you a quick visual of this 3-car garage, but at the end of the video, I'm gonna walk out to the cul-de-sac that's outside of this 3-car garage because there's a steep drop off right beyond that white van, so they can't actually build more homes in that area. And I like that because you get privacy in that cul-de-sac, but you also get a view that you can just walk out to right down the street from this home. What we're also seeing there is just going to be some storage space in the garage, which I think is always really important. And we didn't see the garage in the front of the home because it did have a side swing 3-car garage. But again, we'll get back out there at the end of the video. So stay with me and we'll walk through the rest of it. That was a look, by the way, at the utility room, which was accessible from the primary closet. You could also access it from the garage mud bench area from that hallway as well. Okay, heading upstairs, we have a good-sized game room and then a very large media room, which we're going to see next. Here in the game room, we have good amount of windows, I think, on either side, bringing in a lot of natural light. I like that the game room and this media room that we'll see next is private from the 3 bedrooms that are upstairs. We will see a Kasita, which was on the first floor at the end of the video as well. So stick with me. I go to the Kasita and then I head outside and I'll show you kind of everything that's out there. On that side was some storage space off of the game room. And then we have the media room here. Now this media room does have a window in it, so if you were planning to make this into a theater space, pretty easy to just put out a blackout curtain on that one window, and then you don't really have too much else you have to deal with. Overall, I think this is a big space. I know it's just one big empty room, but again, if you want to see how this plan shapes up with furniture in it, and it's much easier to visualize, that model home walkthrough is in the description of this video, and that will help you visualize this space. And that same model home did have this media room upgrade in it. And currently, if you do build this plan from scratch, they don't have the media room in it as a base plan. It is something you would have to add as a structural upgrade. But definitely double check that before making a buying decision. There are many different variations of this plan in different communities. They do change these plans over time, but as of right now, that's one of the structural upgrades, one of the big ones that would obviously add square footage to the plan. Okay, moving on, we're in the full bathroom that's right off of that game room, media room area. Still on this floor, we have a few bedrooms and another full bathroom that we'll go through. And then again, I'll head downstairs, I'll show you that Kasita, and then we'll head outside from there. And while we do that, I want to cover something that's been brought up a lot recently. You know, every day I get calls from people that reach out to me saying they love my videos on YouTube and they love the homes that they're seeing, but they want to know a little bit more about what is going on with the market. And my response is always the same. Instead of asking what the general market is doing, you should be asking what your sub-market that you're planning to buy into is doing. That's the key question to ask. And what I mean by that, using this home as an example, is instead of asking what the market is doing, just the general market, for this specific home, I'd be asking what are buyers doing that are buying between $900,000 and $1.4 million at 3,500 to 4,500 square feet in the Liberty Hill, Georgetown, Leander area. That would be the detailed question that I would be asking, because the answer to that question can be very different from another submarket, like a 500K buyer in Hutto or a $300,000 buyer in South Austin. These are all very different submarkets, and they're all reacting differently to interest rate fluctuations and different events that are happening in the economy. And so it's really important to understand how each of these submarkets is reacting in this fast-changing market. And so my whole point is sharing that with you while we go through this bedroom and then this Jack and Jill full bathroom in between these two bedrooms is this submarket that people are looking at, that is over $1 million in this neighborhood, but big lots, it is strong with the right plan. To kind of give an example of that, there was a home that I featured on this channel a couple weeks ago that was listed at $1.3 million. And I had somebody who reached out to me about it, and I had told them right when I posted that video that specific home, and this isn't salesy, I know that builder. I actually have 2 clients that are under contract with that same builder on that same street, similar product line. There is a backlog of buyers trying to get in on that street. 6 months ago, there was probably about 10 to 15 different options on that street, all inventory homes. And I was telling people you can make a very aggressive offer just because there was so much supply. My conversation this time was the complete opposite. I was saying that was one of their most popular plans, and the builder probably had many buyers that were interested in it, and I wouldn't be surprised if that home sold within a week of it becoming available, maybe even sooner. Well, guess what? That $1.3 million home sold in 2 to 3 days. I think if you look online right now, it's 3 days officially, but that usually means on the second day, they usually got like a reservation to sign the contract for 24 hours. And then it's 3 days on market. And now it's already pending $1.3 million house. Now, there's still a lot of talk on recession and things going on in the market, but people are buying homes within 3 days at 1.3 million. Why is that happening? Because supply is a little bit lower in this area now than it was 4 to 6 months ago, and that buyer base is still very strong at that $1 million range. And so my point in sharing all of that with you is you should always be focused in on the sub-market. It is so easy to just look at general market statistics and averages and then draw conclusions on what you should do. Real estate is incredibly hyper-local, and so you should always be making decisions on what's happening locally at a sub-market level. Getting back into the plan, I like this front courtyard area that is just opened up to the outside, very unique, and then accessible from this courtyard area is the Kasita. Now, a lot of people ask me what a Kasita is. I think this was once upon a time called the mother-in-law suite, but I think we've gotten away from that vernacular, and mostly here in Texas at least, we call it a Kasita, which is just a separate area, private from the home. And that privacy allows for many different uses. For example, I've had somebody look at a Kasita option because they love sculpting as their hobby. They even sell sculptures on the side, and they were going to use this area as for sculpting. I've had somebody who is starting a podcast and a whole marketing arm of their business, and so they wanted to have an area private from their home to be able to do that. And then you can even, like you see here, have like a kitchenette in a Kasita like this. And then we talked about the in-suite full bathroom. Some people though just use this as another bedroom, right? You just want another bedroom on the first story that is separate from the home, so this individual has privacy. And so I've had some people say they like this for their parents, where they want to have their parents stay with them, but they don't want to feel like they're on top of each other. And so just having this separate Kasita where you saw the kitchenette, and then you have a walk-in shower in here, it just makes it so much more livable, having a little bit of space with everyone, but still having them close by in their own separate room. Now, I want to head outside and show you that cul-de-sac that I was telling you about earlier. And while we head out there and show you that view, I wanted to clarify something I said earlier in the video, which is don't always use me as a realtor. What I meant by that was very simple. I tend to focus on a very specific niche of real estate, and I'm very lucky that I have a lot of people reach out to me through YouTube, so that allows me to pick a niche and get better and better and better at that niche. What that also allows me to do is when people reach out to me, I'm just honest and upfront with them. If their criteria doesn't match my niche, then I find them a great realtor that's more focused on their criteria. And that's my key. And I think it's a bit backwards in real estate. Every realtor says that you should always work with me, but how can they be good at everything that's in real estate? It's very difficult to do that. There's many different types of real estate that are out there. I think it makes more sense to identify who's the best fit for your criteria, and that's something I can help you out with. So if you do need help, reach out to me. My information's in the description of this video. And if you did like this walkthrough with Scott Felder and you want to see a great model home walkthrough, it's actually a one-story plan called their Chesapeake plan. Click on the thumbnail that's appeared on your screen. And as always, hope this helps. Take care.